NPL. We start with the lineup, and we start with the lineup of Sydney United. Number 3, Bailey Rule. Number 4, Adrian Vlaskalica. Number 8, Mario Shevov. Number 10, Carlos de Oliveira. Number 11, Matthew H. Number 17, Michael Glassok. Number 19, Adrian Milicevic. Number 21, Vedran Gaviatovic. Number 23, Mason Wells. Number 32, Leroy Dennis. Number 37, Luke Zuela. On the bench, we have number 6, Thomas Macro. Number 7, Finn Ballard McBride. Number 14, Ryan McGing. Number 20, Adrian Jane Martina. Number 30, Marco Aramosic. And number 43, Michael Pratenzina. And now, the Marconi Stallions. Marconi Stallions, these are the players. Number 1, James Hilton. Number 2, Tylen Berry. Number 5, Lachlan Griffiths. Number 6, Domenico Costanzo. Number 7, Franco Maia. Number 8, James Bylis. Number 10, the captain, Marco Desic. Number 13, Tas Mourado Kautas, new player coming from Western Australia. Second appearance for Marconi. Number 16, Liam Yuli. Number 17, Damian Sekinis. Number 18, George Daniel. On the bench, number 9, Kyle Cimenti. Number 12, Julian Monge. Number 14, Jake True. And number 20, Patrick Williams. Number 24, Matej Buzek. And number 35, Sebastian Kitschkitsch. I would like to acknowledge and appreciate the support of the sponsor for 2025 of Marconi Stallions. Bridal lawyers, if you need any legal advice, the bridal lawyers are the ones to contact. Stratford Refrigeration, Alliance Construction, Peter Warren Ford, Legea and Maca Football. The Football New South Wales Men's National Premier League competition is proudly sponsored by Michael, official match ball of New South Wales NPL. Attendants are reminded that they are bound by the Football Australia Spectators Code of Behaviour together with the terms and admission of this venue, and any breaches may result in disciplinary action and sanctions. The 2025 Marconi Stallions own jersey and merchandising is now available for purchase at the ticket gate, and a limited quantity of our 2024 merchandise is available at discounted price from the Club Marconi reception. Before the game starts, ladies and gentlemen, please be abstaining for a minute of silence in memory of Diego Iota, Liverpool player, and his brother Andrea, that is playing for the second division La Liga Española. They unfortunately they deceived after a tragic car incident with a Lamborghini in Spain last Thursday. The funeral has been held yesterday, and the great news, unfortunately for the family, but it's still a great news, Liverpool has decided to give to Iota family the remaining money for the next 2 years of contract. Very generous. I won't be in the shoes of the wife and the mother and father of these 2 brothers lost, unfortunately, in a tragic accident. Thank you very much. Don't forget to visit Bella Porchetta for some delicious pork rolls. You can can spot them on the hill beside the broadcast tower. You can also get some Miami roasted chestnut from our pop-up stand located beside the stadium canteen. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention again, please? Please welcome to the field the football chairman of Marconi, Mr. Roberto Carniato, together with the president of Sydney United, Mark Ivancic, with the Australian Championship trophy. The Australian Championship is a new era, as I said before, in Australian football, commencing October 2025. Featuring 16 clubs across 8 member federations of the NPL, and provides opportunities for the clubs, players and communities to shine on the national stage. As a foundation club, the Marconi Stallions eagerly awaits the commencement of the competition and the continued support from our loyal members and fans.
Yes, good afternoon everybody. A special occasion in Sydney's southwest, greeted by glorious weather. The football gods are as excited for the Fairfield Derby as we are. A rivalry formed by geography and forged in its history. The Marconi Stallions hosting Sydney United 58 at their palace, the Marconi Stadium. And plenty on the line for both sides this afternoon. Marconi in pursuit of a first ever New South Wales top flight premiership. And they could end the afternoon on top of the table with a win here. United, though, fresh off taking home the first piece of silverware on offer this season in Wednesday night's Waratah Cup final, will be keen to dent their old rivals' hopes of similar glory come the end of August. Buoyed by that win against the Northern Tigers, they now must quickly refocus on the league, with the chasing pack in hot pursuit of their coveted top six final spot. Alex Bolchanoff, delighted to be joining you this afternoon on the gantry at Marconi Stadium on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. A very, very warm welcome wherever you're tuning in. Let's have a look at how the two teams will line up. Not too much change to bring you, both unchanged from their last outings. Marconi's a tight, intense 1-0 win here against Sydney FC. Damien Sekenis got the winner that day. He'll partner Marco Jesic up front again here. Franco Maya starting on the right with Don Costanzo on the left of the midfield, with James Bayliss and Liam Yulee renewing their partnership through the middle. George Daniel and Tyrone Bertie, the fullbacks. Lachlan Griffiths partnering the new signing Tas Murtakutis in his second Marconi start in front of goalkeeper James Hilton. Well, for Sydney United, when you've won a cup final, why change anything? A 0-0 and a first goal of the senior season for Luke Schuvela, who wrote his name large in the club's history with that strike, which claimed them an 8th Waratah Cup. Behind him today, a midfield five: Mason Wells off the right, Leroy Jennings off the left, Mario Chabal, Aiden Milicevic, and Carlos de Oliveira, the man of the match on Wednesday, anchor that three. The back four: Bailey Rule on the right, Michael Glasic and Adrian Vlastelic are the captain in the heart of defence, with Matt Hatch at left back, veteran Jan Jetovic making his third start since returning to the club in the transfer window. And we are underway. Marconi bringing back memories of old in the sky blue kit this season. It's been a bit hit and miss at home, considering their outstanding away form. Just a 50% hit rate in terms of wins at this famous old ground this year. But since their promotion back into the NPL New South Wales in 2018, they have not had their colours blown here by their old rivals Sydney United. So a nice stat for them to lean on this afternoon. What a beauty here a year ago, almost to the day. James Timolkovsky scored one of the goals of the season after Marco Jesic had opened the scoring off his assist. Damien Sekenis is filling the big boots of Timolkovsky, who's been spotted around a few NPL grounds lately. It's the defensive side of Marconi's 11 that have got the focus to put in the very early stages here. So Oliveira's enjoyed this fixture his time at the club, scored the winner, come from behind 3-2 win at Adenza Park a year ago. Hasn't tasted victory in this clash since, though. He's looking to play a starring role as he did on Wednesday. Mario Chabal getting a first taste of this derby, and that was fired in towards the near post. Cleared away by Murtakutis. It's come in at a critical time in Marconi's season, with Anton Mlinaric out for the season, Cameron Windust and Brandon Villa all suffering injuries as well. Needed some reinforcements back there. What had been the stingiest defence in the competition. Still right up there in terms of those statistics, but have been leaking goals just a little more regularly. Clean sheet was much desired against Sydney FC last weekend, managed to get it. Funny old football game. Marco Jesic getting a goal controversially disallowed for offside, and then missing a penalty. Of course, Sekenis managed to make his name the winning one with half an hour to play. Sydney United actually coming off the back of 2 straight losses in the league for the first time this season. Thankfully, that loss against Spirit FC last Sunday seems a long time ago, given the happenings in the week. Zuvila's goal coming after just a quarter of an hour of that cup final. De Oliveira can't keep the ball in play. Chances were few and far between after that, but United always looked in control of the game. They now sit alone on the top of the most wins chart of the Waratah Cup, broken free of Hakoah Sydney City. Won it 7 times, an 8th crown. What a remarkable achievement. Befitting United's standing in this state and indeed Australia's footballing history. Great to see the Australian Championship trophy being toured here this afternoon. Saw it down in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago. It's made its way up to the state which will have the most teams competing in that inaugural Australian Championship beginning in October. These two have their spots guaranteed as foundation clubs. Would only meet in that Australian Championship though. They managed to get pretty deep into the knockout stages, been drawn in different groups. Gorgeous conditions for football. As we brought you in the pre-game, Marconi Stadium surface is held up well, even with all the rain. A little heavier than usual, perhaps, as Saketis lays out Vlastelica. Only half an eye on the ball there. Marconi striker is their top scorer this season with 7 goals in his first campaign back with the club. It's been a sparkling return under Father Peter. Spoken to Football New South Wales media a couple of months ago about some of the tension and pressure he was feeling coming in to fill those big boots of James Tomulkowski. He's done a fine job. Jesic goes over the top of De Oliveira. 2 number 10s tangling, and then Chabal going through the back of Franco Maya. It's outstanding last weekend in their win over Sydney FC. Talked about the signing of Murder-Kudus. One of the things it's allowed Peter Sakenis to do is get Franco Maya higher up the pitch in a wing role, with Tyrone Burney returning to his more preferred right fullback position. And it's just got the engine humming a little more freely than it had over the previous month or so. Sydney United know the scale of the task they have here this afternoon. Challenge for the players out there as well. There's an occasion built up by both clubs, rightly so. Keep your mind on the task, even with so much pomp and ceremony around the ground before the game. Terrific turnout again here at Marconi Stadium. Stand is not quite full to brimming, but certainly I would describe as packed out, especially in the shade. And you need a little bit of that today, such as the warmth that we're getting from the sun. Unseasonably beautiful Sydney conditions on this Sunday afternoon. Bailey rule for Milicevic. Zuvela, who likes to play with his back to goal. He's got a task, 2 of the strongest centre-halves in the competition, and Griffiths and Murder-Kudus to match up against today. Here's Liam Yulee. Going to roll it wide, and you just saw the pace on that pass. It's giving us an idea of just the fact that the pitch is a bit heavier than usual. It's not affecting Franco Maya whatsoever. Switches play for Costanzo. Look to come in on that right foot. It's his trademark. Wasn't able to keep his head over the ball and force veteran Janjetovic into a first save of the afternoon. never officially retired, veteran Janjetovic, but stepping down from A-League duties and was called back into about the Wollongong Wolves by his old teammate David Carney in his time down there, and now back at his junior club. 160 odd A-League appearances, storied National League career. In just 2 games, he's already got a trophy with them. Signing necessitated by the injury to Tristan Prendergast, and then the 4-game suspension to his backup Josip Orlovic against the Central Coast Mariners in that loss up at Paloom Park a couple of weeks ago. Griffiths hoisting that one forward, and a lot of this game in the early stages has been played up in the air, which is not the preferred style for either side, it must be said. Sydney United, particularly a team that like to work with it on the ground. Marconi happy to go in transition with direct, quick passing. Costanzo just not able to measure the cross. Jesic and Zekenes both in there, sniffing around for an opportunity. To say, in the early stages of this one, Sydney United's build-up has been largely aimless. A bit of a worrying sign for Ante Juric, but fresh off that win on Wednesday, able to adjust their radar a little bit. Javella, of course, I think starting that Waratah Cup final because of the absence of Patrick Antelmi is away. Latest sighting in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Patrick, if you are watching this one, I'm sure he's be catching up, even if he's not watching live. Very good morning to you. The new and the old for Sydney United 58. It's been a big focus of their recruitment over the last year or so to re-energise this side with some fresh faces and legs. Certainly this side has a more youthful slant to it than the team that won the last Waratah Cup final just a year ago, or 2 years ago, sorry. Bayless for Liam Yulee. That's a gorgeous switch of play, and Bernie, even with the pace of Hatch, is able to anticipate and continue his run into the corner. Delivery passing over the byline before curling back into play, so a goal kick for the visitors. I'll say NSL fans back in the 90s will be loving this combination of kids. We got it at Enza Park earlier in the season, but something about the Marconi Stadium and this fixture. Played in so many big occasions down the years. These two kits combining the old footballing rivalry of red and blue. Winter's afternoon. Yulee's radar just a little off. I have to say, it's been a slow start from both teams. Given the build-up, sometimes that happens in these fixtures. So much anticipation from the players as much as the supporters. This is some nice stuff being put together by Sydney United. Chabal, Wells, and now Rule. Forward from right, ball back for the first time. Chabal tried something cute around the corner. Griffiths in his way. Spilled to Milicevic. Zavella's got space and just under hit the pass wide for Jennings. Hatch can keep things alive. Milicevic. Chabal thought about a shot and then almost got caught in two minds, stepped on the football and turned it over. Rule was keen that Costanzo's run didn't go any further. Happy to just stick out a leg and take the impetus out of the attack. current fixtures up the top of the table. We brought you just how important this game is for Marconi's season in pursuit of that premiership. Rockdale in action concurrently out at Landon Stadium, a very tricky task for them. Off the back of a loss to the Sutherland Sharks last weekend, it's all become very tight up the top. Spirits win over Manly United, a tight game that one at Christie Park yesterday, finishing 2-1. As things stand, it's moved them level on points with both Rockdale and Marconi on 46. Rockdale first on the back of a better goal difference than their two rivals. Depending on how the afternoon shakes out, Marconi could finish top of the table again. It's a crunching challenge from Bayliss. I don't think there was too much malice in it, but it was certainly badly mistimed, and it was very high. Wouldn't have tickled Carlos de Oliveira. He's not one to shirk a tackle like that himself, but caught him with the full brunt of his boot there. Thankfully, de Oliveira doesn't seem to be too affected, either that or he's a fairly good actor. He's not a bad footballer either. What can he judge here? Milicevic. Vlastelica loves that cross-field ball with his left foot, and it was only a yard or two from finding Mason Wells, who appreciates the effort. So the pendulum of this match just hanging suspended, waiting for someone to shake it their way. Other concurrent fixture this afternoon has all ramifications down the bottom. Central Coast Mariners in Sutherland, although that game has been postponed only an hour or two due to some of the traffic problems up in the Gosford area. So people pushed back there. Give you an even longer afternoon of NPL New South Wales men's football. Not to mention the women's, which is kicking off in its full slate this afternoon as well. Murder-Kudus, well known for his ball-playing ability across his time in the A-League. Western Sydney Wanderers Academy product. Moved back to Sydney after some time with Perth Glory this season. Griffiths into a real tussle with Zuvella, and he's won out the Marconi Stallions centre-back. Jesic has green grass in front of him. And a couple of runners as well. Vlastelica read the situation nicely. Meyer trying to recover things. Still the United skipper gets his body in the way. There's a bit to celebrate. Vlastelica just trying to get a bit of a rise out of Franco Meyer in the aftermath as well. Now it's de Oliveira, who was on the end of a crunching tackle himself a minute or two ago. Calling for cool heads. Through the effects, Mike. We've got a slight breeze blowing across Marconi Stadium this afternoon. Towards the southern end of the ground, which Sydney United are defending. Patch heading high. Murder-Kudus went up with reckless abandon there, but did manage to get above Jennings and win the football. George Daniel happy just to clear his lines. It's been a pretty tempered opening for our referee, Jake Rose. But it's getting into a, shall we say, impassioned conversation with Bailey Rule about the location of that throw-in. Nice touch from Zuvella. Better recovering challenge from Daniel. He's looking to make his way forward now. Jesic searching for Costanzo. Glasic reading it well and then turning it over to the Marconi skipper, who's looking for Sikenis now. I think he squeezed it between the legs of both he and Vlastelica. Janjetovic grateful. Able to gather without too much trouble. Griffiths. Sydney United really squeezing up, not allowing Yuli any sort of space to dictate things from. Looking to go quickly through the centre of the park. No Marconi's strengths, certainly an attacker out wide, rather than try to snuff out the terrific talent of Costanzo and Maya, set on preventing them from receiving the ball at all. Not a bad plan if you execute it well. Easier said than done over the course of 90 minutes. Marconi in the ascendancy in terms of possession, but neither team have created a clear-cut opportunity so far. Sekenes. Griffiths is seeing a lot of the ball at his feet at the moment, which tells you a lot about the pattern of the opening stages of this one. Metakurtis. Costanzo dropping deep, just trying to get involved. Such a brilliant creative talent's been right at the top of the assist totals and chances created over the last 3 seasons. Put Franco Maya in that category as well, that gorgeous left foot. Trying to show it off there in searching for Jesic. Savella dropping deep, doing his hold-up work tidily. Hatch has turned it over to the Uruguayan-born winger. Look to dart inside. That's De Oliveira. Ooh, that ball took a wicked spin off the Marconi surface. And it's broken nicely for the Stallions. Jesic. Elected to go himself. Eventually a conglomerate of red bodies have snuffed all that out, and Bernie's happy to bring down De Oliveira. He wants to get things going, but he doesn't really have numbers up the pitch in any case. It's a game that does produce goals. Last two have finished 2-1 in Marconi's favour. Game earlier in the season where Lachlan Griffiths and Mate Busick got on the score sheet for Peter Sekenes at the Sydney United Sports Centre. Oh, that ball's left short. It gave Jennings a look. Hilton having 2 bites. And he was caught in the follow-up by Zuvela. Well spotted by referee Rose. Put under all sorts of pressure by that under-hit pass and the lightning-quick pace of Leroy Jennings. Has a history of scoring goals himself in this fixture. He scored in his debut for Sydney United 58 against Marconi back in 2023. It's able to recreate that terrific memory, but tell you what, he wasn't too far away. James Hilton's been left with a big bruise on that right foot, I would suspect. It's a reward for getting his team out of a bit of trouble there. Costanzo and Daniel have just swapped positions for the moment, try and get Marconi's creative force into the game. The dynamism and dogged determination of George Daniel. See him work up and down in tandem with Costanzo. Griffiths for Bayliss. Yuli was hoping that Maya was up there, but didn't have time to get his head up and check. So the ball ends harmlessly at the feet and now in the gloves of veteran Janjetovic. Wonder as well if you're looking for a recap of round 22 as we get towards the business end, the premiership chase. Top 6 spots up for grabs as well. Sydney United will be hoping that narrative changes over the next week or two. They'd like to lock up 6th position. Take a big step towards doing that with a win this afternoon. Even a point would be helpful, with Olympic sitting just a solitary point behind them coming into the afternoon. If you're looking for updates on all that, make sure you get across the NPL New South Wales socials. Instagram, Facebook and X. Great ball in, and Jesic has opened the scoring in a derby again. He is inevitable in this fixture. Beautifully picked out and then nodded home past Janjetovic. waves to his adoring fans. Perfect timing to pop up with the header. His 7th of the season, as clinical as ever. Takes the applause and the congratulations from his grateful teammates. Wasn't his happiest afternoon against Sydney FC last weekend. He's created another happy memory in a Fairfield derby. He loves these fixtures. Home, away, it doesn't matter. Just as he did here a year ago. He opens the scoring. And that was Marconi at their best. Working the ball cleanly, precisely through midfield, out to a wing, where Jesic was picked out by a gorgeous cross. Not just opening the door with little turnovers like that. Zavella, and he's found Wells nicely. Just couldn't hold off the attentions of George Daniel, and then good strength from Yuli. Just got his foot stuck in the turf. So Wells can continue the attack. Chabal was juggling it forwards. United got an immediate response here. Hatch. Good ball in towards Zavella, just with too much on it for him. And Hilton now less affected by that foot injury, or that foot knock that he copped in the challenge 5 minutes ago. Sharply off his line to claim in the air. Talk about a goalkeeper who has developed into one of the best in the competition, James Hilton. Nenad Vekic. That job as the Marconi Stallions goalkeeper for so many years, but was almost forced out by the development of the young goalkeeper, who has not relinquished that #1 jersey since. Good shot stopper, tidy in command of his area, good distributor of the football, loud communicator, you hear him often. Our effects mic's just barking at players in front of him. Sekenis allowed to turn, clatters into Glasic. It was all fair, although both players look to have come off worse for wear. And Vlastelica is calling for Marconi to put the ball out of play. Jake Rose has stopped things of his own volition because fears for a head injury to his central defensive partner, Michael Glasic here. It's actually a very well-timed challenge by Sydney United centre-half, but Sekenis was right up for the fight. And diving in. It's all football, but the clash of bodies has seen the Sydney United centre-half go down. So Vlastelica having more words with the referee. Just a little bit of frustration showing from the Sydney United captain. Simply given, well, was looking fairly even, but Marconi made their success on the back of capturing those big moments. There's no one better at it than Marko Jesic. The Marconi skipper is just in conversation with his central strike partner. As Glasic is back to his feet. Long-time Sydney United physio Diana Kazric down there providing treatment. There's a thumbs up towards the bench, so it looks as though Glasic is going to be more than okay to continue. For those Marconi fans interested, that fixture being played out at London Stadium between Blacktown and Rockdale, still sitting 0-0, quarter of the way through the game. But it's the Stallions leading here for a Marko Jesic header. Recurring storyline in this Fairfield Derby fixture. One of his favourite opponents, Sydney United 58. Bayless bending that one over the top, but not able to find his skipper on this occasion. Oliveira again being entrusted with the ball-playing ability out of his own half, but he's had that nicked off him by Yuli. And there's blue shirts forward. Yuli tried to go it all on his own. Didn't quite get the purchase on the strike he was looking for. Lovely footwork from Mario Chabal. Well, he did spend a bit of time in the A-League men's. Has been such a key to Blacktown City's success over the start of the 2020s. Almost strange to see him running around in a different strip this season, but quickly endeared himself to the Sydney United faithful. His playmaking ability is present and prominent as ever through the heart of their midfield. Good weapons up ahead of him as well, with Jennings and Wells. Wells actually the club's top scorer this season. Getting close to double figures. Smaya tries to measure that one over the top. It's taken Janjetovic out of his area. A little awkward for him. Vlastelitz's header. And then trickles out for a Marconi throw. Stallions on top here. The one clear chance of the game. It's gone their way and they've taken it. Nodded on by Milicevic smartly. They've got numbers here if Wells can hold his run, which he has done. Fed by Chabal. And looking to get on that left foot as he loves to do. Daniel was all too aware of that. Read it beautifully. Rule. Getting a further option. Wells tried to go the other way and Griffiths was there to nick it off his toe. Jesic. Has he got the legs to get there ahead of Hatch? He certainly does. And the strength to hold him off it as well. And this is how Marconi want the state of the game. In their control with the ball at their feet. Able to use their ball-playing ability, which Murtakudis has plenty of. He's found Costanzo in a very dangerous position. Good piece of defending from Wells. Diligent work. Getting back to lend a hand defensively. Chabal's asking him to come further forward and just dallied on it for a little long. Wells won it back nicely off Daniel, who hit the deck. Tempo of this game starting to increase. Just shy of the half-hour mark. United would love an equaliser to go with it. Leroy Jennings might provide that. De Oliveira, I think he was stuck in two minds about whether to shoot or pass. Ball hasn't even reached the byline. It's going to require George Daniel just to heave it down the line. Classic happy to let it pass over. Lovely ball from De Oliveira to Chabal. Two players so similar in their makeup, separated by about 5 years in age. Share a lot of the same assets. Got to be careful as a commentator as well, I might mention. Often difficult to pick apart from high up in the stands or the commentary tower. Best seat in the house today. Marconi Stadium. Costanzo, the wind pushing that, and you saw the effect it's having blowing across the pitch. Just carried that one a little bit further than the Stallions winger would have liked. Half an hour gone here, and it has flown by. Sun setting on a gorgeous Sydney afternoon. Kennis and De Oliveira into another scrap. Bayless getting involved and using his body well. He needs options. And Costanzo has called for play to be stopped. He went about it in a nonchalant manner. Very much Costanzo's way. Sporting stoppage. Chabal, well, the physio's been called. And he seemed keen to just have a word with Jake Rose about why he wasn't awarded a free kick. He's going to have to march off for a second or so. Play will restart with a drop ball. Marconi were in possession, so I think Sydney United will knock the ball back. No, and Jake Rose has called it a handball, but Bailey Rule has sportingly knocked it back. Not a set of circumstances you see every day. Well, that's with the law. Jake Rose was quite correct, and you have to say, even in a derby of this magnitude, very sporting of Sydney United just to knock the ball back to their opposition. Hasn't been typical derby fare. There's been an underlying scrappiness to it, but players not exactly flying into challenges. We haven't seen any flashpoints yet. Still plenty of time for that sort of thing. Marconi looking in control of the game, particularly since Yesic's opening goal. Sydney United are going to have to try and turn the tide at sub-stage. That's coming out of their shape a little more. So inviting pressure at the minute. Sekenis has got space on the edge of the area. Those quick, clever feet of his were only a yard or so away from feeding Tyrone Burney in a goal-scoring position. It's a tall boy, Damien Sekenis, but goodness, when he's got the ball at his feet in areas like that, he's one of the better technicians in the competition. No such skill here. It's just going to be a long throw from Maya. A skill in itself. Vlastelica heads down and Jennings clears away. Kudus and Vlasic trading headers. This week as well for Cody that Geordie Swibble has been registered and set to return to the club as well. Funnily enough, shared a club over in Canada. I think he missed Tasmota Kudus by a year or so, but both were plying their trade for a short time over with Valor FC. It's Geordie's latest club. His last campaign with Marconi back in 2023 was better than solid. 15 goals across 28 appearances. Going through the academy systems of both the Western Sydney Wanderers and Sydney FC. Spent a year away in Israel. Returning back to the southwest of Sydney. Another starting to bolster the attacking stocks of the Stallions. Plenty of those in reserves again today. Maya might not need them. Arrowing that one in towards Janjetovic. Saw it all the way. Caught surely. Apologies if you did get any of that through the effects microphone from Adrian Vlastelica. He's less than impressed with some of the players in front of him at the minute. Shabal with some strapping on his head now. Sekenis has beaten everyone to the ball and he stayed on side as well. Ball in, directed towards Jesic, but cut out by Vlastelica. Skewing off Hatch's foot and out of play. They won't meet face to face today, but Matt Hatch and George Daniel, the two left backs, were teammates with the Central Coast Mariners Academy a number of years ago. Hatch was playing ahead of Daniel in that team. It's an out-and-out winger. Converted to the same position now, more often than not, as his old teammate. It's Maya. Oh, and he wasn't far off finding Sekenis. Just an air of frustration. Has looked very dangerous when he's cut in on that left foot, hasn't he, Franco Maya? I haven't seen any of the trademark switches from him today, but the danger is ever apparent. And Marconi are looking back to their assured selves at the back. Sydney United have had very little in the way of trying to crack their back four. Jesic, the goal scorer. To Maya, drifting further and further infield. There's that ball he loves to Costanzo, who lets it pass under his foot, and he can't believe it. Appreciates the beautiful cutting pass. Such was his accuracy. I thought it would just fall onto his foot. Savella. With a cute header cut out by Rule. De Oliveira with his head in his hands after a bit of a blind pass there. But a few too many of those from Sydney United in this opening half. Not as much clarity and direction going forward as you'd like to see from them. Given the attacking weapons they hold up there. It's been nice and tidy through the middle of the park, but the final ball has never really looked like eventuating to this stage. Credit must be given to Marconi for that. Looking to do the double over their old rivals for the first time since their promotion back in 2018. It's even more stunning given that Sydney United have not won here since Marconi came back up to the top flight of New South Wales football. 6 attempts they've had at winning here. Not only have they not won, they're not even been able to garner a point from their visits to the Palace. It's been their fortress in this derby fixture. Given the short journey, just over a kilometre between the two home grounds of these two teams. Fixture that's been played since the 1970s. Well, won by Daniel. Another chance here for Marconi if they play it right, as he's clattered into by the covering Sydney United defender, Carlos de Oliveira. Wasn't too worried about whether he got the football or not there, just knew the attack couldn't go any further. It's Marconi's game left back. Start causing issues in an attacking area. Been plenty to cheer about for the healthy crowd here at Marconi Stadium. At least those occupying the boxes behind the goal. Stanzo always dangerous from these situations. Jetovic has gone with 2 in his wall, hoping this will be more difficult to angle it in towards his near post. That's the corridor of consternation for goalkeepers. That one went towards the back post. Jesic was flying across but didn't make contact. Wasn't the best clearance from Wells, and Yuli misfiring. Lobbed it over everybody. Marconi can be very happy with the temperature of this fixture at the moment. The ball being played mostly in the right half of the field from their point of view. Sydney United, by contrast, have had very little in the way of opportunities. Chabal hoping to create one here, and Jennings, who had a look along the line, and from our vantage point looked pretty clearly offside. Assistant on the near side, Aaron Block, agreed. The easiest job for the official on this near side today. The sun shining right into his eyes, but I think he'll have some tougher calls before the end of the afternoon from that one. Daniel breaks free of the attention of the Sydney United defence. Costanzo just trying to measure something rather than really whip something deep towards Sekenis. This is where United sense they've got an opportunity. Griffith's so good at snuffing out just those things. And now with Savella deep into midfield, there's no outlet for them higher up the pitch. This game started as an even one. Both teams feeling each other out, but since Jesic's goal, Marconi have had control single-handed. United looking for an answer, but they got more defending to do. De Oliveira scrapping it away. Daniel dropping it off for Dominic Costanzo. And his ball didn't beat De Oliveira at the near post. Called on Chabal to turn and go. A little pirouette, and then feeding Mason Wells, who's hoping for support himself. He's looking up at Zavello, who was just encouraging him to run forward. Chabal's done exactly that. Touch was a little too heavy. Milicevic keeps the attack alive, blocked off by Daniel. And Marconi are able to work it out. It's the sort of thing Sydney United are hoping to see more of from Mario Chabal as this game wears on. Taking it to the Marconi defence with his running of the football as well as his passing ability. Kostelitz are going route one. Murder-Kudis came off the back of his head, but to the advantage of Hilton well and truly. Leonard Stadium, the score is still sitting 0-0 between Blacktown City and Rockdale Illendon. Going Marconi's way at the moment. Still a lot of football to be played on this Sunday afternoon. They're taking care of their own business here. At their home, looking to go a 7th straight game without United claiming a point at their home ground. Bayless. It's a lovely switch of play. Costanzo, all in close attention. Costanzo went for the audacious back heel. Got closer than most would have. De Oliveira. Again, he's running himself into issues, particularly with Liam Yulee, who lined up again. Didn't catch it cleanly. Meyer crying for the ball away to his right. Liam Yulee's press in that area of the field has been very impressive. To say his utilisation of the ball once he's been in that position hasn't quite matched it. Now he's pulled back Chabal, play on because Sydney United have the football. This would be a real sucker punch if they could get an equaliser now. Wells cross blocked by Daniel. Always seems to be in the right position. Marconi's diminutive left back. Rule. Nice link up with Chabal. Got to it before the byline. Good piece of goalkeeping from Hilton. Springing off his line to claim before it could reach a red shirt. James Macris, our 4th official. I guess there'll be 2 minutes more to come at the end of this first half. A lot of injury complaints over the opening 45 minutes. Nothing in the way of bookings yet from Jake Rose. Has had a pleasant afternoon, all considered. Central referee today, the most experienced in New South Wales football. Wanted to so many of these big games between teams in the top 6. Murder-Kudis allowed to run into midfield with no one near him. Sekenis was trying a clever turn. Vlasic, opposite number, happy to tidy up. Murder-Kudis again. This time he's run himself into trouble. Wells looking for the switch to Jennings. Hit it well enough. Took him away from goal, but also away from Griffiths. Chabal dummying the 1-2 and then taking it inside himself. Wells looking to do the same thing. Twisting and turning. Still might fall for Milicevic. First meaningful save of the afternoon for James Hilton comes in the shadows of half-time. And with those shadows from the stand getting longer. Tidy piece of work, though, from the Marconi goalkeeper. Ante Juric will be encouraged by that. But again, the opportunity came from a Marconi turnover. Interesting to see if any changes are made. There's 2 new signings on the bench for the United coach today, Flynn McBride and Marko Arambatic, returning to the club from Spirit FC. They may both be required because Marko Jesic has given Marconi a lead in a Fairfield derby again. His header just after 20 minutes has the hosts in the ascendancy, and as things stand, sitting top of the table again. We've got 45 more minutes to see out here at the Palace, but they're playing well and looking in control of this one. What does Sydney United have as an answer in the second half? They've come from behind before in this fixture. They're going to have to do it again here to come away with a first point from Marconi Stadium for more than a decade. We'll leave you for a short break at half-time. An entertaining first 45 minutes. Can only expect more in the second half. As both teams head to the sheds. It's the Marconi Stallions 1, Sydney United 58 0.
Located beside the stadium canteen. Lo dico in italiano, carissimi ascoltatori, la porchetta, la bella porchetta è situata all'entrata dello
welcome back to Marconi Stadium. The second half about to get underway between the Stallions and Sydney United. Marko Jesic popping up with another goal in a big derby. His 7th strike of the league season to give Marconi a 1-0 lead at the break. So what do Sydney United have as an answer? Keeps this record going the Stallions have had in this fixture of scoring first. They've done it in 7 of the last 8 clashes between these two. United will need to come up with another response if they're to take anything from this game. There has been a substitution made at half-time. Flynn McBride making his club debut after being brought in during the transfer window. Change up front as well with Marko Basic, another new signing, taking the spot of Luke Chuvella as a centre forward. So Ante Juric has said carpe diem. It's time to strike in the present. No points continuing the way the game was going in the first half. Would not have been a good outcome for Sydney United, and immediately they're on the front foot in the second half here. The third substitution is Liam McGing, who has taken the place of Matt Hatch at left fullback. See if that defensive makeup stays exactly the same, but there's a bit to look at from a Sydney United perspective. A treble of substitutions at the break. Mason Wells, the top scorer this season, is that third player removed out on the right wing. So McBride's with big boots to fill. He had one tasty touch. Basic is making quite a pest of himself in there. He was offside in any case. But immediately the United junior, back in United colours, is feeling right at home in the derby against one of their biggest rivals. Well, it proved to be an astute piece of management from Ante Juric. He's pulled the right levers so many times before. Long and storied coaching career. First campaign in charge of the club where he was a player. He's continued the tradition of Sydney United's former players coming back to sit in their technical area. Shabal just undercooking that pass. Aaron Burney happy to go route one towards Sekenis. Marconi don't need to be too cute in this second half. Done the hard work again of putting themselves in a commanding position. Just need to be alert of the new threats that Sydney United have introduced. McBride with another good touch. And Bailey Rule getting outside Tasmata Kudis, but no free kick judged by Jake Rose and his assistant on that near side, Alessandro Lana. This ball's coming right in front of him. Rule skips past 2 challenges and batters it into Marconi's centre half to win inside the throw. Here's Milicevic. McGing. A chance to get forward. He's been used exclusively as a centre half in his time at Sydney United. Interesting to see him in this different role. On his sudden attacking throw. Been a much better start to this second half. Sydney United. The sun has departed us. Turning into an overcast evening in Bosley Park. The action on the field is going to be red hot all the way. Costanzo releases Sekenis. The best release options in the competition at the moment. Just provides such a great target for his team to hit and get themselves out of danger. Daniel can now join in from left fullback. Rides the challenge of Rule. Towards Jesic, but only found Vlastelica. Costanzo keeps it alive. Well-timed challenge from Glasic. Sydney United survive Marconi's first raid of the second half. Was used just after we went to the break from Landon Stadium. Rockdale Illendon have taken a 0-0 lead. The second minute of added time. Don't get any prizes for guessing who scored it. 21st goal of the season for Alek Risevski. So the two up the top in the tussle, both in winning positions on this Sunday afternoon. That'll still be the storyline at the end of it. Means as things stand, Marconi would move up into second place, Jumping Spirit after their win last night. Still sitting behind Rockdale only on goal difference. Those two have played their two fixtures, split them this year. Been a while since Rockdale had blown Marconi's colours. They managed to do so a month ago here. It's a terrific stadium. Legacy of the old National Soccer League. Legacy of Marconi's storied history. Combined to the club next door, right in the heart of its community. George Daniel just being helped to his feet there. Which Marconi haven't needed to go to their bench just yet. Got plenty of attacking options there if they choose to go down that route. Carl Chimenti, Jake True, both available, as well as Mate Busek, who's gone from strength to strength this season. Funnily enough, Metakutis' signing has really been the thing that's pushed him out of the team rather than his own individual form. It's just been too much of a squeeze to get all the attacking talent in the sides. A little unfortunate to find himself on the bench today. It's had the same with Jake True, who was starting every week until picked up an injury a couple of months ago. Maya, such has been Marconi's form. You drop out of the team, it's very, very difficult to get back in it. Costanzo backheels into McBride. Missed the start of the broadcast today. You missed a sighting of the Australian Championship trophy tournament to kick off in October. United and Marconi, two of its foundation clubs, so their spot is secured. It's looking as though it'll either be Rockdale or Spirit becoming the 6th NPL New South Wales club to be entered into that competition. Bow and Bayless going up, and Basic, who's a big body, climbed above both of them. Chance for Leroy Jennings to run at the opposition. There's an appeal for a handball against Tyrone Burney. Still being scrapped around in there. Burney just belts it further up pitch. I was going to say it was going out of place. And Kennis went in heavily on Liam McGing, who stayed down, and Vlastelica is less than impressed. The first booking of the game goes to the Marconi Stallions striker for a phrased arm, and now Jennings and Meyer and Vlastelica are all in it together. Right in front of our broadcast position here. Meyer often finds himself at the centre of these situations. You know, he wasn't the initial antagonist. Again, he and Carlos de Oliveira exchanging words, and again, it's Sydney United's number 10 is almost trying to calm him down. Damien Sekenis is pleading his case. His is that there's no arm contact. I think the most resounding factor was the fact that he was too late on Liam McGing. The brunt of the contact because of the booking is allowed to stay on the field, even though the physio was in attendance. I'd say it's been a while in the Fairfield derby since we've had a game go almost an hour without a booking. Damien Sekenis has broken that duck for us this afternoon. Well, his team's got a free kick to defend. Oliveira was happy just to launch it in. Hilton almost backpedaling to grab it. Did well to recover. Good piece of athleticism. Stanzo has had a cry of frustration. Ball towards Maya doesn't find its intended target. Might not be the be-all and end-all here for Marconi, though, because they've got possession in an area of comfort for them. Along their back line, just prodding and probing the Sydney United defence. Bayless and Maya, whose touch betrays him really for the first time this afternoon. First time I can remember him turning it over. Oliveira's work coming out of his own half has been hit and miss. Chance for Ballard McBride here. Stanzo was stretching, didn't make contact with Chabot or the ball. Now it's United's turn to build from the back. McGing. Jennings for Milicevic. Griffiths is over in cover, and that's a gorgeous piece of defending. Really was. Stepped in at the perfect time. Milicevic couldn't do anything except watch the ball clatter into his shin and fall harmlessly away. McBride's on Maya, who wanted the free kick. It wasn't forthcoming. He's put himself around nicely, the Sydney FC Academy product. And it looked as though he almost broken the line there. Been a bright debut. Sydney United building in the corner, and Jennings is offside. Marconi will take their time over these restarts now, sensing that the pattern of the game has changed somewhat. Winning all the ball, despite the cries from the Marconi players. I think they could be happy enough with the throw. Misic is continuing his always measured approaches to the refereeing team. His impact today has been noted on the scoreboard. Broke the deadlock just after the 20-minute mark, and it's all that separates these two at the minute. Sydney United keen to get things moving. Classic rule, and that really did catch a bobble as it reached him, much to his frustration. Marconi having complaints about the position of the free kick, mostly because it allowed United to play forward so quickly. Even the Marconi ball boys just taking their time about returning the ball to George Daniel now. Still half an hour to play. I think Marconi will be too set on a 1-0 victory in back-to-back weeks, particularly with the intensity with which Sydney United are playing forward now. Jennings letting it run a little. Burney face-to-face with him. Bayless always back in cover, but then clattering into the back of Jennings' leg. And he finds himself in the book. It's a little unfortunate, but it was a crude challenge. Again, I wouldn't say one filled with intent, but certainly did catch United's Fijian winger. So it was exactly the same spot where Dominic Costanzo had the opportunity to curl one in for Marconi late in the first half. James Hilton said 3 in the wall again. Carlos de Oliveira will try to better Costanzo's attempt from the first half. throwing numbers forward with reckless abandon, United, but still Classic was only an inch or so away from turning home an equaliser. A ball with power and bend from Carlos de Oliveira nearly unlocked Marconi's defence. Closest United have come in the second half. Jennings with plenty of commitment of his own after copying that kick just a moment ago. Griffiths slipping as he hit that, but he still managed to measure it pretty well. Gave Vlastelica a bit of a headache. McGing's got even more because Bernie, well, thought that he should have had the throw. Certainly had the support of his captain. Now Bernie's got to make the recovering run. He did well, but Chabauer still picked it up through midfield. Chance for Ballard McBride, not able to find himself on the ball again there. Rule. McBride just turning it over and then getting himself entangled with with George Daniel rather. As things stand, it's still Marconi and Rockdale sitting level on top tonight. This has been the defining rivalry of the last two seasons in this competition. The two standouts, the two winners of silverware last year's league season. Yuli and de Oliveira coming together off the ball. Marconi just being a little frustrated in the last 5 or 10 minutes. I feel they're quite getting the rub of the green. And Hilton's clearance won't help their cause here. Chabal read it better. His header into an absent area of the field. Tennis flicking onwards. Costanzo looking for the return ball. I think it was the centre forward who was coming back from an offside position there. Chimenti is being readied by Peter Sekenes. To see how he is deployed. Gamers are coming together, and more the cries from the stands can be heard in our broadcast position on the eastern side of Marconi Stadium. McGing. Oliveira loses his feet and, well, wanted to take it quickly. Jake Rose has saved himself a decision by signalling to the sideline. It's going to be a double change. Chimenti I think Jake True, by the looks of things. Damien Sekenes' afternoon is over, as is Dominic Costanzo's. A little bit more running flower. So not Chimenti, it's Busek and True who Sekenes' turn to here. Ballard McBride, he was just eased off it. A little bit too much arm for the referee's liking. Sydney United are getting the opportunity to build through set pieces at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, there was a 2 substitution for the Marconi Stallions.
Quarter of the game to play. Marko Jesic's goal, still the only one in just over an hour. Sydney United have been close a couple of times in the last 5 or 10 minutes. De Oliveira is cross cleared, and then Bailey Rule with an ill-placed pass. Just allows Marconi to a measure of calm back into the game. No goal for Damien Sekenis today, but another fine performance. I think the yellow card might have been as bigger influence as any on his removal from this game. Certainly Jake True can play a similar role with his size and strength. It's a touch more speed, if not the dancing feet of Sekenis. Perfect for this sort of situation as a player who's happy to get involved in the defensive side of the game, even as an attacking player. Marconi goes short. Busek. Covering challenge from Rule, but do it all again with a throw 10 yards upfield. Daniel back off Jesic. Now Yuli. Measuring it towards Maya. And his arm wrapped by McGing. Still he got clear. And put it just the wrong side of the post. Even with the defender all over him, Franco Maya was able to find a yard and give Vedran Janjetovic a very nervous glance to his right. Happy to see the ball whistle by his post. As if Sydney United needed a reminder. Quality of the Marconi winger. True bustling and causing issues for Classic, who thought he should have had the throw, and then Jesic is pinged. They were coming together between he and Rule. Asking a bit of Jennings, whose ball central might be very, very dangerous. Yuli rode the challenge of Aaron Basic, but was enough to put him off. Ellis wins the 50-50 with Chabal. Busek, the first player to lose his footing on the football today. Needs to keep his balance though. Get the attack going forwards. Maya's ball goes behind True. Hilton clipping it long. Happy to win. George Daniel sees it out of play. So he went early with his cards, didn't he, Ante Juric? Did make some measure of difference in the early stages. Clyde McBride's particularly impactful. It means now only Michael Pratazina. So the potential inclusion off the bench now. Another decision goes United's way. This time right in front of the benches. Peter Sekenis is letting the fourth official, James Macris, knows exactly what he thought of that decision. Marconi have got a throw just a matter of moments later. That's a build-up of a few that Marconi are just not feeling going their way. Ante Juric has got a wry smile on his face. I'd like his team to find something to give him a big smile. It would be an equalising goal. Oliveira couldn't bring that one under his spell. And Maya does well enough to win his side of the throw. Can those two come together and share a smile? Got a very similar attitude to the way they go about their football. It's all effort and intensity mixed in with a good measure of technical ability. Both a joy to watch when they're in full flight. Griffiths well cut out. Even his long ball, it's just not quite going the way Marconi wants at the moment. The goal-to-nil advantage enough to keep them happy, but I want to stay that way for the next 20 minutes or so, and balls like that won't help. Looking a little bit like Sydney United did in the first half. They're just lobbing balls forward. And of course, as I say that, Classic did towards Aaron Basic, who was in an offside position, so couldn't compete for it. That's better from Yuli. And he was asking a bit of true. Did enough to force Vlad Stolica into a more agricultural piece of work than he would have liked. Again with his back to goal. Marconi substitute. Found his skipper. He's looking to help it on for Bayless. Still might come for Busek here. Takes it into the area, and the little deflection just meant it sat up nicely for Janjetovic. One of those awkward ones for the goalkeeper. His distribution today has been terrific. Finds Chabot again in midfield. Gets the counter-attack going. Ballard McBride was taken off it. Might have had a little kick out afterwards as well. His team have got the football for now. Rule. And Ballard McBride happy to just let it trickle over the touchline. Chance for Rule to launch this one into the Marconi penalty area. Generally don't get undone by things like this, the Stallions. Sydney United trying to prove the exception. Busek scrambling back, but on his less favoured left foot can only skew it out of play. It is the final one of Ante Juric's outfield substitutes. It's the early season sensation, Michael Pratazina. He comes on for the man he was taking the place of. The vast majority of those appearances, Mario Chabot's afternoon comes to a close. Been the happiest first taste of a Fairfield derby. Ball goes long again. Aaron Basic got something on it. It might well have fallen for Pratazina as well. Awkward time to get your first touch, and the free kick goes Marconi's way. A little nip at the heels, so look to clear. So we mentioned fleetingly across this game, but James Bayless again has done a superb screening job along with Yuli. Jake Rose has had enough of Adrian Vlastolica's thoughts on his performance. A signal that looked like a final warning. So the cards come out for the United skipper. And the free kick goes Marconi's way. Too overzealous in the challenge. To the frustration of United again. Need a lesson in how to manage games like this, particularly big occasions as this has been. Marconi have been the best in the competition for some time now. Just riding out the periods of a match where their opposition do have a little bit of ascendancy, looking a bit better in their football. Riding that out and then continuing to give themselves chances to kill a game off. Got exactly that from this set piece. Meyer over to swing it away from Janjetovic, a dangerous ball which Aaron Basic looked as though he got the final touch on. Jake Rose, with my observation. Janjetovic's appeals for a goal kick were rather half-hearted. Whip and bend. Sets of plays on both teams get in their delivery. It's been so impressive this afternoon. Maya, yes, but Costanzo in the first half. De Oliveira at different stages for Sydney United. Pack of bodies, a scrum almost around Janjetovic as Maya gets ready to deliver this. It's right on the goalkeeper, and how that didn't end up in the back of the net is beyond me. Jake Rose says one of the United defenders got a touch. And so we'll have it again from the opposite corner. Heroic defending, but I don't think any United player wants acknowledgement. I've heard the goal kick. It wasn't coming for them. Marconi searching for a second to kill off the derby. Route one again. Jesic right towards Janjetovic. This time Vlastelica up in front of his goalkeeper. And a tidy touch from Bratazina to get his team out of trouble. Lisevic searching for De Oliveira. Back was Murtakudis. Second game in Marconi colours has been just as sturdy as his first. Jesic chesting it for Busek. Challenge, Vlastelica was sure he got the ball. Might have got a bit of Mate Busek as well. Takes his time recovering. Probably half a yard away from making that one of the cleanest tackles all afternoon. Bayliss moves it on quickly. Bernie with a chance to try and go at Jennings, who stepped across. Won the ball, but conceded the throw. I have to say, it hasn't been the most all-action of Fairfield derbies, but it's got an intensity and a tightness to it. It's going to make these last 15 minutes eminently watchable. Can Marconi kill it off, or will Sydney United find an equaliser? Haven't claimed a point here since Marconi's promotion back into this division back in 2018. They've had 6 goes at it. Try number 7 is heading in the same direction. Unless they can turn the tide late. Nice turn from Ballard McBride. Really stuck a foot in, but he rode that challenge. Found Glasek, who's happy to carry the ball. Through in pursuit. Ball for Rule had too much on it. And even happier news for Stallions fans, because there's been a second goal at Landon Stadium, and it's gone Blacktown City's way. Mitch Marlier bringing the host level there, which means Marconi might well be sitting top alone tonight. They can see out the final 14 minutes. Rule's touch was a little lob up in the air that allowed Busek to make a play on the ball. True trying to wriggle his way free. Couldn't do that, but the throw will do for now. Big 2 months for Marconi before 2 more big ones. The Australian Championship on the horizon for both they and Sydney United, who are going to be right in the chase for the top 6 again. I'm mentioning a lot what's happening up the top, but if United can't find an equaliser, they'll be just a point clear of Olympic with 8 games to play. Maya jinking and stepping his way away. Couldn't clear it though. And Busek with good pressure and fresher legs. Nicks it off Rule and ducks inside. Once, twice, Yuli. Maya. Oh, Bernie was overlapping, but he was ignored. Murtakudis wrapping up Aaron Basic, who was good enough to wriggle clear. Ballard McBride felt he was held up, but are coming together. All it was, said Jake Rose, between he and George Daniel. It was just well enough positioned to make sure the United substitute didn't get a clear run at it. And he's stumbling as he looked to come for that ball. Jesic over the top and then through the back of Jennings. And the second challenge rather than the first will draw the whistle. Leroy Jennings has proved a real handful down the touchline when he's had the opportunity to run with the ball. Jesic is looking on in disbelief, but it's pretty clear that he won the ball initially and turned it over. Frustrating doubly, because this seems to be the main route to goal for Sydney United at the moment. Just over 10 minutes of regular time to play. Another line of bodies at the edge of Marconi's penalty area. Initial ball in cleared. Back in by Rule. It's towards Glasek. Wide by Bayliss, and De Oliveira can only steer it to the feet of James Hilton. Time quickly running out for the visitors. Mustered some good come from behind efforts this fixture over the last year. Also, to say, haven't looked quite as likely today. The exception of the first 10 or 15 minutes of the second half, it's been all Marconi. And this time Liam McGing has drawn the eye of the referee, finds himself in the book. It's clipping over Franco Maya. It's encouraging words from the back. Liam Yuli's afternoon is over. And another fine performance from him. What an asset he's been since he's returned from injury midway through the season. Barely missed a minute since. Has been exceptional, almost exclusively. One more change for Ante Juric. Thomas Mako brought into the centre of midfield. He's got a turn of speed on him, but he's part of this defensive line set up. First up, Vlastelica heading clear. Alan McBride stepping in. Jawad Rezai. It's a substitution for Peter Sekenis. In fact, no, it's not. It's Julian Monge. Pardon me. Marconi's number 12 coming into the centre of their midfield to replace Yuli. De Oliveira's radar has really departed him in the second half of this game. Just not been able to run those balls forward with enough consistency. Really worry Marconi. Daniel Fatru. It's Marconi at their best when they get those third man runs, and he's travelling with the ball at pace towards goal. Really had to be careful because Jennings was sniffing around. He, Meyer and Griffiths, they work it out. And now Monge with a first touch. Straight into the firm figure of the United skipper, but then winning it back from behind him. Well-timed challenge. Bayless trying to swing it back out to the near side. Too much on it for Bernie. Calling for players to look for the ball. It's been a consistent theme this afternoon. United defenders asking for a player to show, look for the ball to their feet. Shy on doing that. Time he goes the long option, McGing, but it's turned over from the throw-in. Wasteful from Sydney United. True just having a little kick out at McGing as he stretched for the football. United left back's gone down in a heap. And True has joined the list of Marconi players in Jake Rose's notebook. Yeah, the cry of pain from McGing. Down under the challenge. Consistent theme in all of them. It's not been too much intense, it's just been late. United going back to the Route 1 stuff to try and find this equaliser late. Vlastelica slipping as he hit it, which I don't think helped the trajectory of the football. Big few weeks, said 2 big months ahead of 2 more big months for both these football clubs. Continues next week. Marconi going away, where they've only lost 1 game in the league all season. Taking on the lowly Western Sydney Wanderers out at Wanderers Football Park on Saturday night. 7 o'clock kickoff due there at Wanderers Football Park, coming together between Meyer and Jennings, who to be doing everything in his power to avoid treading on the felled Marconi winger. It's right in front of Jake Rose. As for Sydney United, this is going to be a 3rd straight loss if things hold in league football. Back at Adenza Park, a suburb over next weekend. Another Sunday 3 o'clock kick-off against the Wollongong Wolves. In a bit of form themselves over the last couple of weeks. Motakudis. Busek, he's been their finisher this year, really. He and Maya between them, been the ones that have found the late goals to bed down the Stallions' superiority. Regardless of what happens in the Premiership race, it looks as though they're going to give themselves a great opportunity to be standing there on grand final day again. It's a remarkable stat about Marconi. I mentioned a bit. Chase for a first Premiership title. They won 3 of them in the National Soccer League. Time in that competition. The remarkable thing about not having won a Premiership is that they managed to win 4 grand finals in the first division of New South Wales football down the years. They have been the team for the big occasion, which of course has been the label applied to Sydney United, given their cup runs over the last couple of years. Cody just got the wood on them in terms of consistency at the moment. You know, they could still flip the script somewhat on that narrative this afternoon if they can find an equaliser. Time is running short though. 4 minutes to play. Yesic just giving Franco Meyer a bake. Wants him to get back in defensively. Meyer obliges. Wasn't the tidiest throw from Liam McGing, and Marconi were making that point, but Tasmurda Kudis has got the slimmest of touches on that. Which means Sydney United are going to get another set piece. Another chance. Now just a bit of stress starting to bed in to the Marconi defence. Jake Rose, what's happening here? He's calling a couple away. Franco Meyer again in the centre of things. Stuck with his captain, now it's the opposition one. He and Vlastelica have been in consistent conversation with Jake Rose all afternoon. And still they're going. So they make their way back into the 6-yard box. Young Michael Pratazina entrusted with the responsibility of the set piece, curling in towards Hilton, and the header was there as well from Glassick, flashing wide of Hilton's post. 2 moments for Michael Glassick in this second half. The first, the slimmest of opportunities, stretching for a ball at the far post. He just missed getting a boot on, and then a header without too much pressure. Couldn't force the save. And Marconi fans breathe another sigh of relief. They might only need a couple more deep breaths now to get them to full time and back to the top of the table. The champions searching for their premiership. Mako up in the air. One's return serve. Meyer with the tidiest touch of all of them, and then Bernie just decides the aerial route's the best one again. Yesic well positioned, away from his opposite skipper. And Meyer, a couple of challenges he had to ride. No foul there, said the referee. Mako's just dismissed Yesic. And bombed the ball out of the reach of Bailey Rule. Free kick goes Sydney United's way for a tug on the shirt. Franco Meyer is still down in a heap on the near side, and Peter Sekenis is right at the edge of his technical area. Oh, and now Bailey Rule has got over into the bench, and this is not good. Players and substitutes coming together. Not sure what all that was about. Perhaps just Marconi preventing Bailey Rule from getting the ball out of their dugout. They tried to resume play. Now, after maybe 45 seconds, burnt off the clock. Sydney United get things back underway. Ball forward is rather wasteful. Yesic. Oh, and True's sprung the offside trap. He's one-on-one with a goalkeeper, and he finishes it off. Marconi will be top tonight. Jake True back in the goals, and the Fairfield Derbies is the Stallions. They're going to complete the double over their old rivals in 2025. A measured display mixed in with that little bit of brilliance. He didn't go the easy option, Jake True. He went right up where the Spiders live, the top corner. Gave Janjetovic no chance. Once he'd run clear of Vlasic, he knew that the chance to kill the game off was there. He took it with both hands. One last substitution for Peter Sikinis, perhaps to protect Franco Maya more than anything. Carl Chimenti is going to have a celebratory minute or so. The crowd finally reaching full voice. The crescendo to what's been a bit of a slow burn of an afternoon, it must be said. Well, that's the way Marconi like it. They've been in full control of this game for its majority. Not its entirety, it must be said. Sydney United have come in flurries. Ball's whipped into the area. A couple of chances to Michael Vlasic. But the fact they've fallen to their centre half rather than anyone higher up the pitch tells the story of the night. And Hilton's stumble as he cleared there has really been the extent of his errors this afternoon. Another clean sheet going to be locked down in his book. He's approaching double figures for the season. Have to think he's the front runner in the race for the Goalkeeper of the Year awards. Won by Oliver Kalatz of Sydney United last year. True's ball just squirted across the face of goal. It's found its way out over this near touchline. That Waratah Cup final. A nice piece of silverware, but the battle for the finals places is going to continue for Sydney United and Ante Juric. 3 consecutive losses coming at the wrong time in the season. Hadn't lost consecutive matches before the 2 against the Mariners and Spirits. And Marconi is going to make that wound a little bit more painful. Their win here this afternoon. They keep their perfect record against their old rivals intact since their re-entry into the top tier. It's just a place Sydney United are not enjoying visiting in their recent history. Well, I'm afraid I may have got off a little bit too early with the call. Well, Marconi being top after Jake True's second goal, because Alek Grusevski has got a second for Rockdale. They're back leading by 2-1. 15 minutes remaining out there at Landon Stadium. Conclusion of this one. Let's flip over and have a look at what's happening on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel, where you found this game. Lockdown and Rockdale still playing out the final 10 or 15 minutes of theirs before the Mariners and Sutherlands get underway later this evening. Daily rule felled, but this has been a familiar pattern, and Marconi have been unshaken, unmoved in front of James Hilton, defending their goal. Not as high a line as Spirit, for example, but it's just as effective. Again, Griffiths, the only real jumper. And Birdie's happy to clear it for a throw rather than a corner. Time the only thing between Marconi and the final whistle now. 3 points, which will keep them level with Rockdale and continue this chase for the Premiership all the way into the late season. The champions searching for their Premiership. They've taken another big step towards it with a fine performance this evening. A goal either side of the break in a match where they were never really troubled by the Waratah Cup winners of Wednesday night. United still yet to come away with anything from Marconi Stadium in the time since the Stallions' promotion back into this competition. But it's that look on the table that has got Peter Sekenis with somewhat of a smile at full time. Jesic, after just 20 minutes, his 7th strike of the season before Jake True came off the bench in the shadows of full time to seal the 3 points. So the double in the Fairfield derby goes Marconi's way. It's been a pleasure to bring you this round 22 clash on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Make sure you're back with us next weekend, but it's Alex Molchanov signing off from the Palace, where it's finished. Marconi Stallions 2, Sydney United 58-0.
I would like to thank you for your kind attention and for your attendance, and I hope to see you more and more often here at San Marconi when Marconi Stallions play at home ground at the Palace. Thank you, good night.